There's a question here. Can you say Allah has a body? Can you say Allah has a body? This statement, in Arabic, when they say, Inna Allah jismun, indeed Allah is a jism, or laysa bi jism, Allah is not a jism. This is from the inventions and the fabrications of the people of Kalam, Ilmul Kalam. And this is what was brought into this nation, Muslim nation, by the likes of Al-Jahm bin Safwan and Al-Ja'ad bin Dirham. These two are imams of misguidance. And what they used to do would travel to various parts in the Islamic lands. They would go to Harran, where there used to be philosophers, star worshippers who used to be well versed in Greek philosophy. They used to go to Damascus. Al-Ja'd bin Dirham, possibly, it is likely that he went to Damascus. He was arguing with Christian theologians, scholars. John of Damascus is one of them. And he used to move around these different places, arguing and debating with the Sabi'ah, star worshippers, with the Christians, with the Yahud, with the rabbis, and so on and so forth. And they would absorb what they took from them. And then they entered their statements into Islam. And so one of those issues was to do with Allah, His names, His attributes, how can we prove His existence? And in order to do so, they abandoned the method in the Quran. In the Quran, in the methodology of the prophets and the messengers, there is a clear methodology as to how Allah Azza wa Jal, by way of His messengers, calls the people to worship Allah alone. Calls the people to first of all believe in Him and then to worship Allah alone. And this is found everywhere in the Quran. Everywhere in the Quran. Two very quick examples. First of all, in Surah Ibrahim, قَالَتْ رُسُلُهُمْ أَفِي اللَّهِ شَكْ فَاطِرِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Their messenger said, is there any doubt regarding Allah? أَفِي اللَّهِ شَكْ. And the scholars explain that there are two parts to what they said. أَفِي اللَّهِ شَكْ فَاطِرِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The first part is an appeal to the fitrah. Every person knows instinctively that there is a creator. This is fitrah. This does not require any thought, any reflection, any reason, any intellect, any observation. It's something that's instinctive inside every single soul. So, the first thing the messenger said, is there any doubt about Allah? Appealing now to the people's fitrah. And then they said, فَاطِرِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. He is the originator of the heavens and the earth. This now is an appeal to the aql, to reason. In other words, establishing that Allah is the originator. And in this respect, they pointed to the signs, the ayat, the barahin, the evidences, the basair, all of these things that the messengers pointed to show to them rationally that there has to be a creator behind this creation. Likewise, the man in the city to whom many messengers were sent in Surah Yasin, and he said to the people when they rejected the messengers, the three messengers, and he said, as we see, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اتَّبِعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ اتَّبِعُوا مَنْ لَا يَسْأَلُكُمْ أَجْرًا وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. So man came from the further parts of the city. He said, "O my people, follow the messengers. Follow those who do not ask you for any reward, and they themselves are guided." Incidentally, this shows you that the people of truth do not charge people to hear the truth. Follow those who do not ask for any wages, any ajr, any reward, and they themselves are guided. So you see these people like Al-Maghrib and all those institutes and many of these Hizbiyin, they charge you and they misguide you. The opposite of what the messengers do. As we see in the statement of this man, they do not ask for any ajr and they are rightly guided. And this is the way of the people of haqq, the people of truth, incidentally. Anyway, this man, he says, and this is the shahid, وَمَا لِيَ لَا أَعْبُدُ الَّذِي فَطَرَنِي وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Why should I not worship He who is the one who originated me? And he used the word فَطَرَنِي, فَطَرَنِي. And to Him shall I be returned. This now is the appeal to the fitrah. He's saying to them, look, the one who originated me and you, why should I not worship Him? Why should you not worship Him? When you know this by way of your fitrah, this is the argument. Then in the next part, he then used reason. He said, أَأَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً إِن يُرِدْنِ الرَّحْمَنُ بِضُرٍّ لَا تُغْنِي. If, he said, should I take other deities besides Him? Why should I take other deities besides Him? If Ar-Rahman intended some harm, then their intercession would avail me nothing whatsoever. This now is an appeal to reason. He's saying, look, Allah Azza wa Jal is in control of benefit and harm. And if anyone intended, if Allah Azza wa Jal intended harm to me, no one else would be able to benefit me in anything. Not even their intercession would be of any benefit. So why should I then worship others besides Him? This now is an appeal to reason, calling to the reason for worshipping Allah alone. So this is what the messengers came with. Right? This is what the messengers came with. They came with fitrah and they came with sound reason in order to prove that worshipping Allah alone is the truth. They never came to prove Allah exists. They never came to prove this because this is already in the fitrah of the people. Right? So is this clear? This is the way of the prophets and messengers. So these people that we were speaking about earlier, Al-Ja'd bin Dirham, Al-Jahm bin Safwan, what they did is they learnt these philosophical ideas from these different nations, from the Yahud, from the Christians, from the Sabi'ah, who themselves were influenced by Greek philosophy. And in Greek philosophy, they used to talk like this. Everything is a body, and a body has attributes, and whatever has attributes is originated, and all of this is the language of Aristotle. Al-Ajsam, wal-A'rad. And these people, they took this knowledge from those nations and they brought it into Islam. And then they tried to speak about Allah using the same language. And then they then began to make distortions of the Quran whenever there were verses to do with Allah's names or attributes to make it fit this language. Right? So the first person to come and say, Inna Allah, indeed Allah, laysa bi jism, is not a jism, is Al-Jahm bin Safwan. As Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah mentions in many of his works, in Minhaj al-Sunnah, in Bayan, Talbis al-Jahmi, and other places, he mentions that Al-Jahm bin Safwan was the first one to say, Allah is not a body. And then those who were the first to say Allah is a body are the Karramiyah. Karramiyah Mujassima. These were some Hanafis in the 3rd century, around the time shortly after Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala. And what they did was they were a counter reaction against the Jahmiyah. The Jahmiyah said Allah is not a body. And because their argument was anything which has attributes must be a body. So Allah can't be a body, therefore He has no attributes, has no names. And the other side, the Karramiyah, they said, well, wait a minute, Allah definitely has attributes, and the only way you can have attributes is if you must be a body. So Allah has to be a body for Him to have attributes. Right? Responding to falsehood with falsehood. Right? So they said Allah is a body. But then they qualified their statement, they said, well, He's a body, but not like the bodies that we know. But in any case, the language is wrong. Why is it wrong? Can anyone tell me why it's wrong? What is the principle that we follow? What is our principle from the Quran, the Sunnah, and we have the Salafi in how we speak about Allah?
You affirm what the Quran affirms and negate what.
That's right. Jazakallah khair. That our principle is that we affirm for Allah whatever He Himself affirmed for Himself. Because He is most knowledgeable of His own self. And we affirm for Him whatever His messenger affirmed for Him. Because the messenger is the most knowledgeable of the creation of Allah. And likewise, when it comes to negating things from Allah, when we say Allah is not such and such, we follow the way of the Quran. Whatever in the Quran it says Allah is not such and such, then we say that. And whatever His messenger says that Allah is not such and such, then we follow that. We stick to this language, and in this there is safety. Because we are following the way of the prophets and the messengers. So the answer to the question, can you say Allah has a body? No, this is a bid'ah in the religion, and it is haram to speak about Allah with that with which He did not speak about Himself, or which His messenger did not speak about Him. And all of this is from the innovated rhetoric of the people of Kalam, who do not stick to the Quran and the Sunnah. Rather, they take the philosophies and the ideas of other people and they speak on that basis.